Hello and welcome to Tar Heel Teachers Presents an overview of the North Carolina Education Corps. I'm Marlo Artis. COVID-19 has had a drastic impact on education across our state. Late last year, the North Carolina Education Corps was launched to address some of the challenges by providing additional support for students. The North Carolina Education Corps partners with local schools to recruit, educate, and activate Corps members to support students and accelerate learning. Here to talk about the North Carolina Education Corps are John Paul Smith, Executive Director, Dr. Deanna Towsend-Smith, Director of Operations and Policy for the North Carolina State Board of Education, and Corps members Georgia Broitman and Adair Melton. Thank you all so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us here tonight.
Thank you, Marlo.
Really excited to talk about this great work. What a wonderful initiative for our state. So John Paul, we will start with you. Can you give us some background on how the North Carolina Education Corps was developed?
Happy to, and Deanna would be good at this too. So the North Carolina Education Corps was created as an initiative of the State Board of Education and the Office of the Governor initially. And the big idea was, how do we create more support, high quality, whole child support for students across the state? And how do we do that in the wake of COVID? And how do we do that for many years to come to help close opportunity gaps?
And I think that's an excellent point, Jean Paul, because I think like while COVID took away a lot of things, I think it gave us an opportunity to hit at the whole child needs that we know that there has been a gap there for so many years. And so when this idea was proposed and visioned by the chair and the governor's office, we were blessed that we had partners such as John Paul and former Superintendent Dr. Ward willing to answer the call and handle the work of this project.
Awesome. And Deanna, can you talk about how this is such a game changer for our state to be able to have a statewide initiative and organization that's able to spearhead this work in terms of the recruitment and then the deployment of the Corps members?
Yeah, I think like with a lot of initiatives, we get started and then we have to stop due to lack of capacity, right? And so this was one of those opportunities where philanthropy, federal dollars, and like just furthering the strategic plan and visioning that the board had for the state, it was just an awesome opportunity to do that. For the past 2.5 years, we've been talking about equity and whole child and how that's critically important to ensuring a sound basic education. And so with that in mind, we saw this gap across the state of, students being home teachers, schools doing a phenomenal job with what they had at the time, but we wanted to add to that and provide opportunities for extended learning outside of the school for students so that we could continue to close opportunity gaps, because ultimately at the end of the day, that's what it's about, continuing to close opportunity gaps so that students reach their fullest potential.
And John Paul, last year, the Corps members were used in a variety of ways in order to support students and support districts. Can you talk about the changes that are on the horizon in terms of really focusing on the emphasis of what the Corps members will actually do?
Absolutely, yeah. So last year, in the wake of COVID, our Corps members were serving in a variety of roles. They were serving in, Adair and Georgia can attest to this, they were serving as mentors, they were serving as tutors, they were serving as contact tracers. They're really helping to meet the needs of the districts in that immediate wake of COVID-19. Moving forward, this coming year, our Corps members are going to be exclusively focused on working as K-3 literacy tutors who are specifically helping students build their phonological awareness and phonics skills. So they'll get training that's grounded in the science of reading. They'll have training, the first wave of Corps members this year will have training in September and be in classrooms by October to really work with K-3 students to make sure that they can learn to read so that for many years to come, they can read to learn.
That is really great when you think about the initiative that the state is pushing with the Science of Reading. I mean, it aligns perfectly and it makes so much sense. So, Adair and Georgia, I want to pull you all into the conversation. What was it about the North Carolina Education Corps that was appealing to you where you said, this is a good use of my time?
Yeah, I can start, or if that's fine with you, Adair. So personally, I had a background, I had been tutoring kids before virtually, before starting with North Carolina Education Corps. And while I'm at UNC and they don't have an education major, that is what I'm hoping to go into, education. And not learning well virtually myself, I was taking this semester off. So this was just perfect timing for me. And beyond timing, it was really something that I care about, educational equity. And as John Paul and Deanna were saying, closing those opportunity gaps is really something that I am passionate about. So I was really excited that this organization was there for me to put myself in and do the work that I care about. And yeah, Adair, do you want to?
Yeah, so I think that what drew me to the Education Corps was that I have always been someone who has wanted to make an impact in anyone's and everyone's lives, whether it be kids or elderly or, middle age. And so I knew that kids were especially struggling during this time, and not only kids, but the teachers. So I saw it as, like Georgia, a perfect opportunity to give back to my community and give back to my peers so that they could be just as successful and have just as many opportunities as I've had throughout my educational career.
Yeah, that is really great. Deanna, did you want to add something?
I do. I think like just listening to Adair and Georgia just reminded me of the early stages of this project, the conversations that John Paul, Chair Davis, Superintendent Ward had about this specific initiative. It's always about giving back, right? That's what makes this thing we call democracy work. And then when you think about building out the pipeline of future educators, who's to say that EdCorps won't be one of those pipelines that produces that additional educators that we need, be they educators of color, be they just educators to meet the needs of each and every. And when we're thinking about equity and whole child, that just really gets me excited. And it just reminded me of the early visioning of this work. And it's exciting to hear from your perspectives here tonight, Georgia and Adair, how EdCorps influenced some of your decision to join and what it could potentially mean for you being an educator in this system.
Yeah. Oh, can I add on to that?
Yes, of course.
What Deanna was saying in terms of a pipeline of educators made me, and talking about equity made me think about too how part of what the Corps does beyond, working with the students in person in the school, we also did our training, and it's very equity focused. And so as much as I've had the privilege of being in some spaces and having equity conversations before, it was still a different perspective always when you have those conversations and you're talking with other people from different backgrounds. And it was a really neat space to, be in the spectrum of Corps members that are young folks and also older folks might be retired and across different generations, and how that conversation goes. But yeah, just having that conversation about equity and how that ripples into people's lives. And then especially as an educator, when you're seeing so many students every year all the time, it's a really cool thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think I'm glad you brought up that point too, Georgia, in terms of the profile of the Corps members. So there really is a space for everyone with the North Carolina Education Corps. So can you talk about that, John Paul, in terms of what you all are looking for and who have been some of the Corps members that have served in terms of their profiles?
Yeah, sure thing, Marlo. So there are two primary profiles of Corps members. One is the up and coming emerging teachers, or young people who are interested in serving in the education space. This could be community college students or university students who want an opportunity to learn and serve and earn all at the same time. So we have really good relationships with the UNC system, Laura Bilbrow-Berry, Sarah Ulm, as well as folks within the community college system like Lisa Eads, who are creating opportunities for their students to get field experience, to serve as corps members, while also getting paid, and in some cases getting academic credit while they're doing it. And then another group of individuals that we tend to work with who serve as corps members are retired teachers. We have just been blown away by the number of retired teachers who have stepped up to say, hey, I want to continue to support students in the wake of COVID, and they've been phenomenal corps members for us. So those are kind of the two primary profiles of corps members that have raised their hand and said, hey, I want to get after this with you guys. Our corps members are all serving part-time, so that allows for some flexibility for individuals who want to be engaged to support students, may not have full-time capacity to be able to do that, but want to step up and get good training and support students, and this year do that as K-3 literacy tutors. So typical corps members are either working 10 to 15 hours a week with local school districts. They're employees of the local school districts that they're serving. So it's a great way to for young people to get their foot in the door with prospective future employers. And then the second profile is sort of 20 to 25 hours a week, is another range that corps members typically serve into. And then this year, Winston-Salem Forsyth is also creating opportunities for their corps members to be serving full-time.
That is really great. Adair and Georgia, can you both talk about what it actually looks like when you're working with the students?
Every day is different. You never really know what you're gonna get when you go into work, just because students' emotions fluctuate, and what happened the day before might affect how they're feeling today, or what happened this morning, or what they ate for breakfast. So you just never know what you're gonna get, but you always know that the students are going to be, once you've built that relationship, the students are going to be excited to see you because they really value that one-on-one time, because they don't typically get that in the classroom, just because there's so many students and there's so much going on. So it is an experience every single day. You never know what you're going to get, but you just go in with the mindset that you're here to help and they're here to learn, and you're going to get what you need to get done.
Yeah, absolutely. I can really just second everything that Adair said. It's definitely, I'm excited that the Corps is kind of taking a new shape. I had a lot of students, and so I definitely got to build relationships with so many students, but I think with and John Paul can talk about this a little bit more, but the time that is set to work with students each week, I think 30-minute blocks, will really allow for a greater development in relationships. But yeah, just as Adair said, you can't really know what to expect, but you can expect to have a great, once you build that relationship, have a good rapport with your students, and it's exciting. Some days it's exciting to see, yes, you remembered that letter and the sounds that it makes, or then you might go back and be like, and not be knowing the same letters, but it's back and forth, and as Adair said, with that one-on-one time, when I was in my kindergarten classroom, the other students noticed too, and they almost get jealous and would ask me if, like, oh, can I meet with your group today, Miss Georgia? And oh, we'll see if we have time. But it's really something special to the students to have that time together.
I think also a lot of your day depends on, especially if you build that relationship with that student, not only the student, but that student's teacher, you can kind of bounce off of them what specifically that student might need to work on that day, or what they might have been struggling with yesterday or in the past few days. So again, it's different every day, but but having that relationship with that teacher really, really helped me, knowing what that student might be struggling with or what they need to work on.
I know that's so helpful for the teachers to have that another caring adult in the classroom to be able to provide that support for students, because you know, I've been in the classroom, you have all these students and you try to get everybody, but when you have that additional support, it makes a big difference. That was one thing I noticed when I worked in Chapel Hill, is that Chapel Hill has over 500 individuals from UNC's campus who actually go in and volunteer in the schools. And I'm like, I could have used that when I was in Cumberland County schools, and I've worked in Samsung, we could have used it. So I love is that this is across the state. So John Paul, talk about the fact that the North Carolina Education Corps is really impacting Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 districts here in North Carolina.
Yeah, absolutely. So last year we worked with 20 public school units, 20 school districts across the state. This coming year we'll be working with 23, and that includes our first charter school, which is Henderson Collegiate in Vance County. The overwhelming majority of the school districts that we're working with are from Tier 1 and Tier 2 counties, which is a designation given by the North Carolina Department of Commerce that is about kind of are you economically disadvantaged or advantaged? And so Tier 1 is the least economically advantaged, and then it goes up from there. Within the Tier 3 counties, this would be like a Wake County, a Charlotte-Mecklenburg County. We partnered with Charlotte-Mecklenburg last year. The core members that we're supporting, they're working primarily in Title I schools. So they're working in the schools with the greatest need, even within the larger district where there are bigger achievement gaps. So that's where our core members are serving. They're serving all across the state. You can see that on the map that we have of our partners. That, you know, our intention all along was that we are serving school districts all across the state, that we're meeting the needs of the school districts who could help use our support the most up front. Our goal for this coming year is to support about 25 school districts, so we're close to that goal. Next year, our board has said, let's try to get to 50. 3 years from now, try to get to 100. So it's pretty aggressive growth, but we know that there's a lot of need out there. We love hearing from school districts and principals and classroom teachers that we'd love to have you in our area. And we work very closely with our school partners to make sure that we set them up for success around program implementation.
And what's the commitment for from the school systems? What do they have to do in terms of their participation?
Yeah, so what the school systems contribute is they have staff members who do put some time into making sure that there's successful implementation, that core members are placed, that they're working with teachers in a successful way. But their primary financial commitment is that they're paying for the core members' time. So our core members are employees of the local school districts or local charter schools. And then North Carolina Education Corps pays for all of the kind of marketing around North Carolina Education Corps in this particular program. We pay for the training of the core members. And then we also pay for this coming year in particular, we'll pay for learning coaches for all of our core members. So our core members who are focused on K-3 literacy tutoring will have learning coaches or literacy coaches at a ratio of 1 coach to 30 or 50 core members this coming year. And our coaches many of them are former classroom teachers, or they've been serving as literacy coaches within local school districts for many, many years. So we pay for all of that, and our core members and the districts and the students they're supporting have the benefit of that.
Wow, that is really, really great. And in addition to the literacy, there's also an emphasis on SEL and equity, diversity, and inclusion. Deanna, can you tell us about that and how that really makes such a big impact when we're trying to serve the whole child?
Yeah, I think like ultimately at the heart of this is making sure that every child has a personalized experience, right? And so core members that are partnered with Education Corps have an opportunity to help us put what I would call our whole child and equity guiding principles, for lack of a better term tonight, on steroids, and put bodies in schools as that's a need, and we've known for a while that it's been a need. And so while COVID caused us to pause, it also gave us this opportunity to deploy a consistent need across the state. And can you imagine what this will mean, not only for like our tier 1, tier 2 districts, but once this is infiltrated across the state, and the impact that it will have on student performance with closing achievement gaps, with improving school and district performance, and improving educator preparedness, is hitting each and every one of those goals that the board has cast for the state. And this partner in Education Corps is allowing us to further that work, because like we can't do it on our own, and we all know that in order to be successful, it takes partnership, it takes philanthropy, it takes state resources, be they human resources, monetary resources. That's what it's all about. And it's just an exciting opportunity to have a program that is truly focused on eliminating barriers to success. Because at the end of it, students get what they need. And for me, for the board, I know it's exciting to know that while we are not to scale yet, but we're going to get there, and that's why John Paul's board is pushing hard on accelerating growth. We also know that I'm just going to tie this piece in as well. Like we have like the Leandro mandate, and it's just not only for those districts. We have a constitutional mandate to ensure sound basic education. This is one of those ways that we do that, because we have to take care of social, emotional needs, while eliminating opportunity gaps by providing appropriate academic support. And at the core of that, as one of my board members likes to say, is a caring adult. And that is what core members do.
It's really, really impactful. I mean, even when you think about the lifelong impact and the outcomes that will be changed because of the emphasis and focus on literacy, I mean, it's really, really great. You're talking about reducing the chances of students being incarcerated and better employment outcomes by really focusing on literacy is such a game changer.
I totally agree. Like I think we know that education is a powerful tool with leveling equity, and at the core of that is being able to access information. And a part of accessing information is the ability to read it, to process it, no matter what subject area it is. And so reading is the foundation that prepares students for each and every stage in their educational career. And until we focus on that, I think we will continue to see those opportunity gaps, because ultimately I don't believe that it's academic gaps, is the lack of access to quality resources. And with the focus of not only like now we have the state that is focused on literacy, we have our partner in EdCorps that is focused on literacy. We're all trying to hit the same target. And when we're thinking about success, we get success when we're all doing similar or the same thing. If we reflect back to what was that, the late 80s, early 90s, when we were truly making some significant progress here in our state, we were aligning together. It was about partnership. And at the heart of that, that's equity. It's about each and every, giving everyone what they need. And because, for us, educational equity is ensuring that every child, each and every, has the necessary resources to eliminate those barriers to success. And we can eliminate barriers to success by equipping students with the tools that they need to read well.
Mm-hmm. And another aspect in terms of equity is the fact that you're leveraging the assets of that particular community. I love the fact that these are individuals who live in the community, can connect with the students. John Paul, talk about how important that is, that all of the tutors are people that live right there among the students and can really connect and relate to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this coming year, all of our core members are going to be working in person with the students that they support. And this just flows right into what everybody has been saying tonight about, it starts with relationships, and then good relationships lead to great results for students and for the community as a whole. And so, all of our tutors this coming year, they're going to be working either one-on-one or in small groups with students in their local communities. They're going to be working with them on a consistent basis. So all of our core members will be serving throughout the entire school year. And they'll be working with the students that they're tutoring at least 3 times a week, 30 to 45 minutes each time. And they'll be doing it during the school day when all of the kids are in school. And that's another piece of the making sure that all of the students have access to these tutors, is making sure that that the tutors are working during the school day. And of course, we're going to make sure that the tutors are trained in the science of reading and in the science of reading instruction. This is in alignment with what State Board wants, the State Superintendent, Catherine Truitt, who's a director of ours, wants. And like Deanna has said, all of the stars are aligning here. Everyone is coming together to reduce barriers for students, and we need local community members to step up to do that for students in their area, and we're seeing that.
Adair in Georgia, what do you say to individuals in these communities who are thinking about being core members? What do you say to them in terms of really encouraging them to take this chance and take this opportunity to serve?
I would say don't even hesitate to try and apply. I personally do not have any background in education. My bachelor's is in criminology and political science. And so I will be completely honest, I really had no idea what I had truly signed up for when I signed up for this, but I'm so glad I did. So even if you're not familiar with our education system, but like John Paul has said, that they're having learning coaches this year, and so they'll prepare you for what you need to know. Just don't hesitate if you don't have the kind of background that you think you do. As long as you have a heart to help children, and you have that want and that desire to make an impact in your community, go for it.
Absolutely. I love that. As long as you have heart. Just build off that. For sure. There's something, I just lost me, but I definitely, yeah. So you were talking about your background. As much as I think I have a background in education or tutoring, or I want to go into that, I caught myself, I don't have the same background that these teachers around me are doing, even though I'm doing their same job. But I had to remind myself, I'm an adult. I know how to read. I know so much more than, these kindergarten, but they know so much more too, and they can teach you so much. And just to give a little testimony, as much as we're talking about the closing the opportunity gaps, to me, I'm just going in and doing my job. I'm just sitting with the student and we're reading a book, and I might be correcting, oh, you say this word this way instead of that. But during Teacher Appreciation Week, she, made me a card and was like, thank you for helping me to read and making my dreams come true. And so sometimes the work that you're doing is just so much greater than you'll ever realize. And a lot of the work that you're doing, if you have that heart, is really just, sometimes the students just need that relationship and that confidence and their belief in themselves that you're giving to them, to really push themselves to excel and succeed. And that's something that's really special and cool to me. So definitely apply, because you can have that impact for yourself as well and the students. Yeah.
John Paul, are there any particular areas, because you have the 23 PSUs across the state, are there any particular areas where there is such a need and we really want to highlight that that's where we need the tutors?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we need the tutors in every one of our school districts. So it's hard for me to say one in particular, but we want tutors in every single one of our school districts. And so I would say, you know, what this conversation was making me think of is that there was a Washington journalist who said that Americans are good at responding to wolves at the door, things like natural disasters or pandemics. We're bad at responding to termites in our basement, things like, you know, opportunity gaps that have existed for a long time. And North Carolina is a very service-oriented state. I think we have over 700,000 veterans in North Carolina. And we're all looking to contribute to the community woodpile. And I want to see us prove that Washington journalist wrong again, that we can both address the wolf at the door and address the termites in the basement. And we need North Carolinians from all over the state to join us in that effort.
That's great. Where do you all see the North Carolina Education Corps in 10 years? If you had a crystal ball and you want to really say, this is where I want to see the program, what are your thoughts about where the program should go in the future?
Well, I think if in 10 years we're across every single district, we have core members that begin to infiltrate and help us with filling our teacher pipeline issues. We have eliminated a majority of the opportunity gaps, and much to John Paul's point here tonight, we have addressed one of the major issues, or two of the major issues that we know that we have seen significant difficulties in, and that is addressing the all the needs of the whole child, and all those items that are equity related, because when we address those, we provide opportunity and access to every single student. And can you imagine North Carolina being the number one place to teach, the number one place to meet the needs of whole child, and the number one place that has addressed have eliminated all of the equity needs in our state? That would be powerful in 10 years. And when you have core members who have a heart for service, it also begins to model for students what they need to do once they matriculate through the system to give back, to participate in this thing we call democracy.
Marla, how could you even try to follow that up?
That is so true. I mean, she really laid it out well. I mean, such a great, outstanding program. Are there any final thoughts related to the North Carolina Education Corps that we want to share with our audience?
Absolutely, yeah. So we are in the final push for recruiting and engaging community members who want to serve as Corps members this coming year, at least starting in October right now. We have applications that are open until August 3rd, and your viewers can find those applications on our website, which is nceducationcorps.org. And we, you know, one of the things that we want to do is do a really good job of listening to teachers and making sure that teachers have Corps members in their classroom that they really enjoy working with. And so one of the things that we have going now is for the teachers in the school, K-3 teachers in the schools that will be receiving corps members this coming year, they can earn $50 for referring some corps member candidates by August 3rd. So I just put that out there for some of your viewers who may be interested in that. We want to make sure that they get the support that they need. And I bet you that some of them have good ideas for who they might like to work with, who could really help to support their students next year. So that would be the call to action is, if you're interested in applying to become a corps member next year or know somebody who would be a good corps member, make sure to make that happen by August 3rd and do that through our website, nceducationcorps.org.
Awesome. Well, John Paul just did my job, so I don't have to say anything else. Go to the website. We want to thank you all so much for watching this episode. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Marlo.